Ek is Thys van Sail en jy kyk na Wins of Verlies. Nou, baie Suid-Afrikaners droom daarvan om hul eie besighede te besit, maar die vraag bly, begin jy iets van niets af of koop jy eerder 'n bekende handelsmerk? Hier om dit te bespreek is Kenneth Adams, die eienaar van Bossa Castle Walk, en Larry Hodes, uitvoerende hoof van Grow Franchising en raadslid by die Franchise Association of South Africa. Great, Kenneth en Larry, welkom by die program, en is lekker om julle hier te hê op die kom ons sê maar op die breinbank. Jy weet, is daar nie ander klere wat hy sê, hy het amper so cappuccino tipe van look and feel op hom, jy weet, van 'n Bossa oogpunt af, en look and feel ook van 'n bietjie van 'n Bossa af.
Ja, so 'n bietjie, dankie.
Ja, so ons het eintlik vir jou gekyter vandag. Maar as ek nou daar by Castle Walk kan kom, dan soek ek dieselfde tipe van, okay, display en jy moet my ordentlik behandel daar.
Ja, en 'n goeie steak.
Ja, natuurlik 'n goeie steak, maar kom ons begin by jou. Jy weet, Bossa. Jy weet, net vir die kyker daar buite, gee 'n bietjie agtergrond van Bossa se restaurant, en hoekom het jy 'n Bossa byvoorbeeld gekies om daarin te belê en 'n franchisee te word?
Okay, so the Bosses started in the 2000s with 34 franchises strong now today. 3 years ago, I got approached, and it's a great business model, lots of support. So changed my life, came from Cape Town, and we turned 3 on Sunday, the 28th of June. So we were the first in Pretoria, and here we are.
Well, happy birthday. Dis eintlik my great, jy weet, dat ons 'n bietjie 'n Kaapenaar Gauteng toe gebring het, jy weet, so, want gewoonlik gaan almal na Afsoen toe.
Ek is ou Pretoriaaner.
Ou Pretoriaaner. Larry, natuurlik weet ook 'n Engelse kollega van ons, maar as 'n mens bietjie na jou agtergrond kyk, jy weet, in jou maatskappy waarby jy nou betrokke is, en natuurlik jou rol wat jy ook speel by FASA, jy weet, as jy bietjie vir ons kan uitbrei, jy weet, vir ons kyker daar buite.
Yeah, so sure, I've been with franchising for about over 30 years or so. I started with Mug and Bean when they were still very small, and I grew with them until about 130 stores.
Okay.
You know, I've also been a director for a large global company. So, I've worked on both sides, but throughout all of that, I've also done a lot of, I've had my own businesses. I've had my own franchises. So, I've been on both sides. I've been a franchisee and a franchisor.
Ken dit terug aan jou toe. As 'n mens byvoorbeeld sê, ja, as jy kan aansluit byvoorbeeld by Larry, wat byvoorbeeld sê, hy was al bekend al twee van die kante gewees. Weet, hy al sy eie besigheid al gehad, jy weet, hy was al internasionaal, maar hy was ook al in franchisor kant gewees. Wat het jou laat besluit, jy weet, om jou eie restaurant te begin, nommer 1, maar om eerder 'n franchise model te gebruik in plaas van, jy weet, byvoorbeeld om te sê Kenneth's, jy weet, 'n diner, jy weet, maar hoekom sou dit jou besluit gewees het?
The biggest aspect of the franchise is it's the backing, it's the Bossa name that's attractive. Even though we're the new kid on the block here in the Gauteng region, and more so in Pretoria, we had to still maintain a standard, and with that backing, the marketing, and the training, it makes it so much more of a less risk.
Larry, as ek kan aansluit by daai risikofaktor, jy weet, wat 'n bietjie afgedek word van 'n, kom ons sê, start-up besigheid wat jy self wil begin teenoor 'n franchise model. As jy by hom kan aansluit daar, kom ons dit eintlik vir jou veiliger om in 'n franchise model te belê as om byvoorbeeld jou eie ding te probeer.
You're not having to go through all the steps of having to work on your marketing, your systems, your processes, your product and everything. All of that's already done. And plus most of the mistakes, that you would have possibly have had to incur, if you had to do it yourself, have already been done by somebody else.
So daai groeipyne is half bietjie al uitgesit. So is amper daai owner's manual of operation manual is reeds gecreate. Jy hoef dit nie ook nog boonop te doen nie.
Big time.
Ja, so, en ek dink dit is seker kan oorgaan na jou toe. Ek bedoel, dit is sommer die trekpleister,
100%.
maar wanneer dit ook vir jou gevoel byvoorbeeld Kenneth toe, wanneer jy begin momentum vang, jy weet, so, want dit is sekerlik ook nou nie so great waar jy net instap en onmiddellik maak jy geld.
So we went out and did a bit of footwork and gave invitations out for our grand opening. And we opened the doors at 4:00 3 years ago. And there was very little people, so we were a bit concerned. But by the time it got to 5:00, it was a queue out the door, and we hit the ground running. So we had a bit of reverse. I mean, people wanted to see what we're about, so it was very important to make sure we get it right. Even though we still had our training wheels on, but being with a brand like Bossa and that support and that structure, and that standard operating procedures. It made it so much easier. But yeah, we had to every month just make sure we stay on top of it. People still need that service and deserve the best plate of food. So yeah, we started finding our feet and started getting more consistency after about 6 to 8 months. And then after a year, we started learning, that we can't just, become complacent. We need to start growing, becoming more customer oriented in terms of community.
Larry, as ons byvoorbeeld oorgaan na jou toe, nou gaan kyk, jy weet, die finansieringsmodel rondom franchises. Hoe lenient is banke nog steeds, byvoorbeeld om kapitaal te leen, te finansier en jy weet, teenoor 'n besigheidsplan wat ons reeds in plek is?
Basically, the way banks work, they've got tiered systems. So your bigger franchises, those are possibly level 1, level 2, then so there's a tiered way down. So the higher you up on that tier, the more likely the banks are, to go and loan you money. But it doesn't matter because, they're still going to check you out as an individual, which is really, really key.
As jy byvoorbeeld sê, ek het 5 miljoen rand, okay, en ek gee nou daai 5 miljoen rand nou vir jou vandag. Maar as ons byvoorbeeld nou sê, ja, ek gee nou 5 miljoen. Okay, so jy byvoorbeeld weer 'n franchise gaan oopmaak of sal jy bietjie spekuleer en dalk jou eie idee doen?
No, in all honesty, and it's part of my journey, I'll definitely reinvest in a franchise. 5 million, depending on the franchise you want, it could be enough for some brands. But yeah, if you want to invest in and make sure there's an owner operating there, then most definitely.
Maar is dit nie maar tog daai risiko-aptyd ook vir 'n entrepreneur af nie? Ek bedoel, so sien ons nuwe opkomende franchises kom as gevolg van bestaande franchisees? Jy weet wat franchisors word met eie brands, of is dit nie regtig iets nie of wat?
What happens is that a lot of people grow up within a franchise and then they prepared and then they really understand what makes a great and successful franchise. And then they can veer out onto their own.
As jy byvoorbeeld kyk van 'n Suid-Afrikaanse perspektief af, niks teen die sekere brands wat daar buite is of dit of dat nie, jy weet, en waar ons altyd ons partytjies gaan hou het nie. Jy weet, maar daar is 'n spasie byvoorbeeld vir brands soos 'n Bozza en 'n ander maatskappy en 'n ander maatskappy en 'n ander maatskappy wat daai ouens go for the money gee. Ek dink dit is tog goed vir besigheid. Wat dink jy?
Yeah, competition's good. Keeps us on our feet. We have to try things every month as a brand and then as an individual and store level. And with that, make sure that you are doing something a bit different and also have consistency.
Wel, ons gaan nou weer aangaan. Net hierna bespreek ons praktiese stappe en natuurlik syfers. Jy koop nie 'n sogenaamde franchise met passie nie. Jy koop dit met kapitaal. En daarom is dit belangrik om te weet waarvoor jy betaal. Kenneth, ek dink kom ons begin sommer by jou. Wat is die belangrikste les wat jy as 'n franchise eienaar basies geleer het nou oor die laaste 3 jaar van jou Bozza spesifiek?
Customer is king. They're not always right, but they have to win. So it's being involved with your clients and your staff. I mean, they are your foundation. They are your face, your business just as much as you are. So the biggest lesson is, be in your store. Be in your shop.
Larry, en weer terug na jou toe. Wat is die verskil tussen 'n kom ons sê nou maar average franchisee en 'n goeie franchisee en natuurlik die belangrikheid van die verhouding, jy weet, met die franchisor na die franchisee toe. En is daar enigstens 'n verskil wat 'n goeie franchisor byvoorbeeld ook in 'n franchisee kan maak as 'n sakeman oor die algemeen?
Yeah, so what takes a great franchisee? It's somebody who's always willing to learn. Somebody who's great at building teams, following systems, following guidelines, because you're buying a brand and that brand comes with standards. So stick to it. Stick to it. Do what you got to do. You're there to follow the rules. It's buying into a club. The club comes with rules. Go and stick to those rules. You are going to be successful because it's a proven model. But I think, going back, it's about leadership.
Yes.
Leadership is really the key of what makes an average franchisee versus a great franchisee.
Terug na jou toe. Nou van 'n franchisee perspektief af. Hoe belangrik is dit dat jy 'n mentor moet wees vir jou stafwe? Jy weet, en natuurlik jou bestuur wat jy aanstel teenoor jou gewone staflede, jou kombuis, jou front store. Jy weet daai van goeders. Hoe belangrik is dit dat jy 'n mentor daar moet wees en die regte staf aanstel.
Last week, I actually had a bit of a chat with my managers, and they need to be the example, just like I have to be the example. You need to be on your floor. You've got to clear tables. And then the argument was, yeah, but why are we doing their jobs? You're not doing their job. You're just taking the lead. So don't eat the whip. You've got to pull the cart.
Ja.
No, that's a difference. And Uncle Larry said as well, if you don't have a good operator, and I had my pitfalls and I learned out of them. And that's how you come back from it as well.
Ja, as jy nou byvoorbeeld sien, jy het byvoorbeeld dalk 'n baie suksesvolle tipe van franchisee. Jy het 'n baie goeie restaurant brand soos byvoorbeeld 'n Bozza en daar kom dalk 'n tweede area op. Is dit iets wat die franchisor dan kan tipies al blootstel aan 'n bestaande franchisee, jy weet om hom dan te help met finansiering, dalk te co-finance of wanneer word jy 'n tweede byvoorbeeld restaurant eienaar van 'n brand?
First of all, there's a franchise agreement that will sort of dictate the area. Then usually the current franchisee has got right of first refusal.
Okay, all right.
You know, so that's how it normally works. But I've also seen franchisees where, they're going well and everything. Yeah, we're ready to open the next store. But as I always say, you're only ready to open the next store. Not when you're busy, but when you're ready. If you're the one who, people come to often and say, how do we do this? How do we do that? Within your current business, I can tell you you're not ready.
So, Kenneth, daarna jou toe, ek bedoel, so gepraat van survival nou. Hoe voel julle dit byvoorbeeld nou? Jy weet, as die ekonomie begin druk en daar kom julle dit agter in julle turnovers, jy weet, is dit iets waarvoor julle moet beplan, is dit iets waarvoor julle dan kan teruggaan na die franchisor toe en sê, maar kan ons daar 'n bietjie groter bal koop, jy weet, hier of daar of dit of dat, om 'n bietjie prys te manipuleer, jy weet, om dit af te kan kry. Wat doen julle? Is daai tipe van gesprekke wat julle ook het?
So when it comes to your stock, we've got a standard groups, suppliers that we need to buy from, which obviously keeps your consistency. But these group deals in place, which helps with that bottom line. We also keep track of your spend per head. We've noticed now in the last couple of months with this fuel and this debacle with the East, that people are spending less. They're still coming out, but instead of getting the fillet, they are taking the cheaper rump, for instance. And now we still need to make sure that they're getting the best quality, and then keep an eye on those, those KPIs, those indicators. Make sure that they're performing, and the ones that are not performing, you got to try and lift them up. So and that needs to be monitored every single day.
Larry, terug na jou toe. Kom ons praat weer 'n bietjie COVID. Ek bedoel, COVID het absoluut die franchise sektor nogal relatief seer gemaak en baie franchisees basies, jy weet, hulle beleggings laat verloor. Maar nou na COVID, het ons al gesien dat dinge weer begin redirect, is dit nou weer besig om na herstelpad toe te gaan, jy weet, soos business as usual pre-COVID, of kon ons nog steeds sien, dis nog steeds 'n struggle, jy weet, om ons te kry waar ons was byvoorbeeld.
Franchises realize that they had to work with less.
Yeah.
Because one thing, when you've got a lot of revenue on the top, and that's what was happening before COVID, so there was revenue and everything. And once revenue's there, you often don't see all that's happening below in the expenses and that. And COVID exposed that. COVID completely exposed that. So there was a new way of doing business. If you compare the amount of staff that people have got today to before COVID, it's mostly less.
Iets wat ek graag wil bylas daar. So jy weet, ek het 'n artikel gedoen in 2019 wat juist verwys het dat die franchise industrie is resessieproof. En want, as jy byvoorbeeld gaan kyk, jy weet, ons het 'n besigheidsplan wat klaar al oor die jare geskryf was deur resessies. Ek bedoel, dit is nie dat Suid-Afrika of die wêreld nie al resessies gehad het nie, maar een ding wat basies altyd nog deur 'n resessie kon gekom het, was 'n franchise konsep. Maar as ons dan nou gaan kyk na 'n Black Swan event, jy weet, soos COVID, jy weet, het eintlik die presiese opposite gecreate waarvan jy nou verwys het. Dink jy byvoorbeeld nou going forward, jy weet, veral van 'n FASA perspektief af, jy weet dat hulle basies, jy weet, al gekyk het, maar as daar ooit weer 'n Black Swan event kom, jy weet, is daar nou basies, jy weet, sekere elemente wat ons beter kan volg, jy weet, wat 'n minder verlies byvoorbeeld op ons restauranteurs sou gehad het, of takeaways, of enigiets in daai lyn, of is dit nog steeds iets wat ons eintlik nog uitfigure?
So I think some of the best franchises, if they're great franchises, would take the key learnings, and there were so many learnings.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's a black swan taste.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't know
Just
what that
don't
black
know.
swan is.
Mm.
Next thing, there's a lot of, foot and mouth disease, which is there. If you remember, was it last year when eggs went 4, 5, 6, 7 times the price? I can't remember.
Yeah, could that?
It's a good couple of years ago.
And for a restaurant to go and absorb that, because it's not as simple as, okay, cool, we've been charged 5 times more, we'll just go and up the price by 5 times. You can't, exactly. You can't. So there are certain things that I don't know how much you can really plan, but I think the most important thing is optimize your business.
Yeah.
In other words, make sure you're focusing just as much on the expenses as what you're doing on the revenue. So you're really creating an efficient, optimized business from revenue and expense point of view.
Net hierna kyk ons hoe jy jou besigheid kan laat groei en wat suksesvolle franchise eienaars anders doen. Wanneer jy 'n sogenaamde franchise koop, koop jy 'n wenresep, maar hoekom ondervind party sukses, maar ander dan nie? Ja, ek dink daai is gewoon interessant. Kenneth, maar as 'n mens byvoorbeeld nou by jou kan begin as 'n franchisee, waarna het jy gaan kyk en besluit op hierdie spesifieke, kom ons sê brand soos Bossa? So teenoor en wat het jy byvoorbeeld sien by die ander maatskappye wat jy dalk eerder na Bossa toe gevat in plaas van om na hulle toe te gaan?
Bossa is a family restaurant with a bar, so they got more to offer. Strong presence in the Western Cape and now in Appie and Gauteng. Very, very, very good brand, very family orientated, and so it's a place where I would go to.
Oh, that sounds.
So, and I'll keep on going to.
Yeah. Larry, over to you. As ons byvoorbeeld gaan kyk, as ek 'n franchisee is, wat is van die kostes wat ek byvoorbeeld nie in ag neem nie? Jy weet, en dit laat my later bietjie in die agterkant byt as ek dit so kan stel. En ek kan dalk selfs my besigheid kos. Jy weet, as ek nie genoegsaam van hierdie kom ons hier in kos nie agtergekom het nie.
It takes anything from 5 to 10, 12 months, to go and break even.
Yeah.
And sometimes a lot of franchisees, they don't actually budget for that. Another big thing being with a lot of retail and restaurant franchises, they revamp every 5 years. And so many times you'll see, even though franchisees know, that a revamp's coming, they have not budgeted for it.
Yeah.
They go and spend, or suddenly they're making money, then your lifestyle improves or increases. And that's where there's often a lot of stress between franchisor and franchisee. Because the franchisor is saying, you know what, you've got to go and change.
Yeah.
You've got to go and put it in place.
Kenneth, terug na jou toe. So met ander woorde, ons is juist by koste element. Nou betaal ek byvoorbeeld nou my franchise joining fee. En daai is nogal relatief 'n bedrag, jy weet, want ek koop ons eintlik nou maar in op die IP en ek koop die IP aan ensovoorts en ek het nou die reg om dit dan te gebruik, jy weet, in voordeel van my besigheidskonsep, maar dan is daar ongoing, jy weet, wat ons noem 'n franchisee fooi. Dis amper die moeilikste ding. Ek gaan dit sê, want ek kan dit sê, jy weet, want ek is soos 'n franchisee. Maar dit is amper soos om wet te betaal en belasting te betaal, want dit kom tog van jou amper potential earnings off.
So that ongoing work. So Bossa also they also got staff they need to pay for. They've got head office individuals, ops guys that come to your store. Yeah, they come to your store. They audit your store. They're there to protect you and to help you. That ongoing help. Then you've got the marketing side, which I can promise you I abuse. So they make sure that we stay within the guidelines and they help us get the name out.
Yeah.
To grow the brand. So it's worth every penny. You do pay it, and we do it with a smile.
Larry, terug na jou toe. Wat gebeur as ek nou nie daai ware vir die geld ontvang nie? Wat kan 'n potensiële ou doen soos ek of hy of wat ook al wat 'n franchise wil koop om te gaan kyk, byvoorbeeld maar hoe supportive is daai struktuur in die agterkant en kan hulle my dra?
The biggest things that you've got to look for within a franchise is, what is the support? What is the culture from head office? What is the strategic plan of the franchisor for the next 1, 2, 3 years? Where do they want to go? How serious are they? Some brands, I can promise you, that are bigger than 100 tastes, that I would not recommend you go to.
Yes.
Not in the least. Because they would just take your money, but there's hardly any support.
Ken, hoe belangrik is dit vir jou om 'n verhouding te hê met jou area bestuurder, maar ook wetend dat jy die uitvoerende hoof byvoorbeeld ook kan kontak? Is dit vir jou belangrik en is dit iets wat jy tot jou beskikking het?
I mean, if I phone a director, he picks up his phone, he talks to me. If I need advice, he give it. If I need it, I'm sure Larry can testify that if you break down in communication, can, soos die Afrikaans sê, die pap vol op die vloer.
Ja.
So, no, that's the line's always open in that regard.
Larry, wil aansluit.
Can I go?
Asseblief.
Yeah, Thys, that is for me one of the biggest positions within franchising. Really, and it's something I'm so passionate about. The area manager is the middle person between head office and the stores. How a franchisee often views head office is dependent, on the abilities of the area manager. They are business consultants, business coaches. When they come in there, they'll say, Kenneth, you know what? Come and look at your P&L.
Brilliant.
You go and analyze. Okay, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. Look at marketing. Go and dissect.
Yeah.
Become an advisor to that business.
Yes.
And I'll tell you now, that's possibly one of the biggest ways for a lot of franchises is upskill your area managers. For me, it's not about really opening more stores. Make your stores a lot more successful. And how do we do that? Equip the area managers to be able to do that.
Ken, as ons kan afsluit met jou, ek bedoel, as jy net daar buite kan sê vir enige jong opkomende tipe van sakeman of 'n persoon wat oorweeg, byvoorbeeld om in hierdie bedryf te gaan, wat sê vir daai persoon sê, jy weet, waar begin 'n ou?
Start from the bottom. That's what I did. Get through the ranks. You need to love what you do. It mustn't be a job. And it's a lot of hours. You're there on weekends, you're there at nights. You're there to open, you're there at the rushes, you're there at the closes. Pulling that cart. And you need to be willing to put in the hours and sometimes get a little or a lot less than what other businesses offer.
Larry, do's and don'ts, wat sê vir ons kliënte daar buite sê, vir ons kykers daar buite sê.
We've got a great location, just as an example. I mean, a great brand, great location, but a poor operator falls flat.
Yeah.
But there's magic when you've got a great operator. So in other words, a correct mindset who's there, who knows that he's going to work hard, but a great leader with a great brand and usually a good location. You've got something magic happening there.
Dankie vir jou passie. Ek dink dit is baie belangrik en dankie wat jy beteken vir die industrie. Sterkte met jou journey by die FASA raad. Ek weet hulle doen goeie goeders ook en jy natuurlik in die eie besigheid en dankie vir ouens soos jy weet wat met jou gemeenskap betrokke is en natuurlik jy weet die Bossa brand dra met absolute trots en baie dankie. Ons sien julle dalk weer eendag. Okay.
Dankie.
Thanks julle.
Nice.
Alright. En natuurlik dankie aan ons kykers en dan sien julle volgende keer net hier op Wins of Verlies.